The councillors from across the country. The ANC has more than 4,900 elected public officials in local government, the most of any political party. The party's Secretary General Fikile Mbalula says some of their deployed members have not been performing to the required standard.
Firing or not firing will depend on the reports that we've got and the evaluation that we have done in terms of our councillors. I wouldn't want to call it firing, I would want to call it intervention. There will be intervention. You will see in most of the municipalities that are underperforming.
The ANC's councillor roll call comes with just about a year before this political term ends and there's fresh local government elections. Thabiso Koba, Eyewitness News, Soweto.
The Umkhonto weSizwe Party says it's reckless for the Madlanga Commission into alleged police corruption to commence this week while its case against its establishment is still pending. The commission is due to start its public hearings on Wednesday while the MK Party and its president, Jacob Zuma, are set to argue their case before the Gauteng High Court in Pretoria on Thursday. The party claims this is not a scheduling coincidence but rather a calculated maneuver to preempt and undermine the court challenge. Lindsay Dentlinger has more.
The MK Party launched its High Court case over the appointment of Acting Police Minister Feroz Kochalia and the subsequent establishment of the police inquiry after the Constitutional Court dismissed an application for direct access in July. The High Court matter was originally expected to be heard on an urgent basis 2 weeks ago, but has now been set down for Thursday. MK Party spokesperson Shlamulon Ndlela.
You can tell that this is a very underhanded and well orchestrated a decision that was taken. This rushed and irregular midweek commencement is no innocent scheduling coincidence.
The party insists it was unlawful and irrational for President Cyril Ramaphosa to appoint a sitting judge to head the inquiry when the allegations also implicate the judiciary. Judge Mbuseli Madlanga has since retired from the Constitutional Court. The MK Party, however, wants Judge Madlanga to postpone the start of the hearings until the court has pronounced on the legality of the inquiry. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
President Cyril Ramaphosa has reiterated his concerns over a major skills gap in the public service which continues to be plagued by corruption. Ramaphosa says this is why they are strengthening the professional foundations of the country's public service, which is often criticized for poor service delivery. Writing in his latest newsletter, Ramaphosa has also acknowledged that there are dedicated public servants in the country. Babala Ndenza has more.
President Ramaphosa says once a year in September, South Africa marks Public Service Month to focus on the contribution of the country's 1.7 million public servants. Ramaphosa says it's through public servants that government provides healthcare, education, policing, social services and other essential functions that affect all South Africans. But Ramaphosa says the public service faces significant challenges like a shortage of skills, outdated systems and processes, inconsistent service delivery and corruption. He says through the reforms underway, his administration is working to attract the right skills, implement rigorous performance management, and create career pathways that reward merit and excellence. Ramaphosa says they are also investing in training and development through the National School of Government. Babala Ndenza, Eyewitness News.
Johannesburg Mayor Dada Morero says interventions are being put in place to ensure everyone has access to water. Morero briefed the media this morning from the Alexandra Park Reservoir in Kensington. The address comes as the city continues to deal with pressure to keep up with the growing population and a high water demand. Beyond infrastructure failures, the city says improving its water billing systems and addressing non-revenue water is critical to solving the crisis. Tandolu Ngcobo has the details.
Non-revenue water that is supplied but not billed, is a problem that has plagued Joburg for years. Non-revenue water is not just from physical leaks, but also from commercial losses, including billing errors and illegal connections. The billing system has been a source of public frustration for years, with residents complaining about inaccurate, inflated, or estimated bills. While Joburg Water has vowed to improve its systems and investigating billing volumes, this issue remains a bone of contention. Non-profit organizations and opposition parties have repeatedly criticized the city for its financial management, arguing that a lack of boundaries of water revenue means funds are often diverted away from essential maintenance and infrastructure renewal. This mismanagement, they claim, is a primary reason why the infrastructure backlog has grown to its current state. The Department of Water and Sanitation has also supported the idea of making Joburg Water more financially autonomous to allow it to retain and allocate its own revenue maintenance. Thandoluhle Ngcobo, Eyewitness News.
And in Nepal, the new interim Prime Minister has unveiled her first ministers as the country seeks to restore order after deadly anti-corruption protests. Demonstrations sparked by a social media ban and feeding into long-standing economic woes led to the deaths of 72 people. Sushila Karki, the country's former Chief Justice, took over as interim Prime Minister at the presidential office last Friday. The new ministers took their oath of office earlier this morning. The 73-year-old is expected to address protester demands for a corruption-free future ahead of next year's elections. Gold's trading at $3,643.26 an ounce. The rand's at 17.33 to the dollar, at 23.57 to the pound, at 20.37 to the euro. Brent crude oil's at $67.21 a barrel.
In Sandton, there's an accident scene. This is on the M1 southbound near Marlborough Drive, causing about a 30-minute delay all the way from the Butlu interchange, so avoid that route at all costs. In the mother city, there's also slow-moving traffic due to roadworks on Main Road between Delbrook Road and Kalk Bay. There's also slow-moving traffic due to roadworks on the N2 outgoing. This is approaching Baden-Powell Drive.
Look at your weather. Clear skies in Gauteng this afternoon. Temperatures are peaking at highs between 25 and 28 degrees. And in the mother city, it's a cloudy day there, along with light rain with strong northwesterly winds at a high of 17 degrees. The top story in Eyewitness News this hour. The ANC's national leadership has promised intervention in some of the country's underperforming municipalities where its members are deployed.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app. You're with Mandy Wiener on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 702 and Cape Talk is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. Think bigger, think Nedbank Commercial Banking. On the show today, the Joburg Water CEO on the crisis at the city's utility. President Ramaphosa meets ANC councillors at the F&B Stadium. The crime intelligence boss is back in court. So are the Pala Pala theft accused. And we'll wrap up the weekend sport. All of that over the next hour.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app, DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Report on 702 and Cape Talk with me, Mandy Wiener. Good afternoon to Orlando Pirates supporters, to Springbok fans. The president's spokesperson, Vincent Magwenya, must be happy because Pirates, Springboks and Arsenal won at the weekend. So congratulations to him. Literally standing up in studio, waving his arms in victory. Krabo, thank you very much for that. I want to hear your WhatsApp voice note, 072 702 1702, 072 567 1567. So what are your thoughts on how the weekend went? I'd love to hear from you on all of that. We've got lots of serious issues to discuss, though, and we're going to start with the Joburg Water CEO because lots of reports over the weekend about the water reservoirs in the city, what the status is, of some of the networks as well. All of this in light of the protests that we saw in Westbury, Coronationville last week. So let's start with Ntshaveni Mokwebo, Managing Director of Joburg Water. And Ntshaveni, good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for your time today. How would you describe the current status of the water system, Joburg Water in Joburg?
Good afternoon, Mandy, and good afternoon to the listeners as well. Indeed, the current status, it is concerning in the sense that the reservoirs in certain areas, they are quite low, and when they are low, we struggle to supply, especially the high-lying areas. So this is an issue that we are dealing with. so that we can be able to stabilize the supply system.
Your statements saying that more than half of Joburg's 83 water reservoirs have leaks or cracks, leading to regular water supply problems. How did they get to this stage? Is there an issue around maintenance?
Okay, in the city of Johannesburg, we have about 95 reservoirs and 34 towers. So out of those 95 reservoirs, we have 22 reservoirs that indeed we are concerned about, and we want to be rehabilitating them. And those reservoirs, all of them, we had a professional team already that have done investigations and be able to scope what exactly needs to be done. And we are in the process of getting contractors who can assist us. Some of them, in fact, we have appointed contractors, about 4 of them, and the balance we are aiming that we should be appointing by end of November. So the issue is that, Mandy, we have indicated also, if you look at our annual report, our business plan, you'll be able to see that we have indicated as an entity that one of the key areas that we need to deal with is really to deal with the issue of the infrastructure backlog head on, especially the renewal, because as much as we have the backlog around the renewal as well as the infrastructure expansion, which is really new infrastructure and so on, the critical ones is really around renewal, where we've got a backlog of about 27 billion, which we need to make sure that we eradicate that. And we have a plan around that, which is a 10-year plan, which I'm sure you're aware of it, because I think we've spoken about it before, to say last year, July, Council approved the turnaround plan for Johannesburg Water, focusing on how we should be improving the infrastructure for water services in the city over a 10-year period. And that 10-year plan, key to it, among others, is the issue of investment, where there's an investment plan of 32.5 billion, which needs to be done. But the bulk of it will be going to the infrastructure renewal, including the issue of water demand management.
That 32.5 billion that you speak of for this 10-year turnaround plan, does the city have sufficient funding? Do you have sufficient funding? Where does it come from?
So that plan, it is part of the trading services reforms. And I'm sure you might have heard it, and the listeners as well, that National Treasury is looking at what they say, trading service reform in municipalities. What does it mean? So historically, you'll know that the municipality has 4 sources of income. One is the water services, electricity, solid waste, and general account, which is the issue of the rates. So historical, of course, there were no issues around an approach around some form of ring fencing the revenues that comes from trading services. You know, it was more going into general account that really subsidized a municipality across. This is how municipalities were working. So in terms of this reform, which is, of course, the model is still being designed and it should be able to be finalized within this financial year, is the issue to say trading services need to be treated differently, in the sense that those assets that are generating revenue, they need to be taken care of more. So in this case, for water or electricity, as you generate that revenue, you need to be making sure that bulk of it goes back into investment for that service. And of course, as we know that municipalities has got more responsibility than those trading services. Of course, there'll be a portion that still goes back into subsidizing or dealing with all the other issues that they don't necessarily generate revenue.
So this is all long-term, right? You speak of a 10-year plan. You've gone into detail about that. How do you remedy the problem in the short term? Because it's day-to-day existence that is frustrating residents, that is forcing them out onto the streets. I know that there are water tankers out there, but is this becoming default that we're relying on water tankers? How do you fix the short term?
No, we don't want it to be a default, Mandy. Water tanker, it's when really, when we're in the middle of a situation, we need to make sure that at least residents still have access to water. So in the short term, we have initiatives that we're working on. These are initiatives like the pressure management in the city. We have about 730 PRV stations in the city, which of course, bulk of them, we are in the process of refurbishing them, because as we operate them, we've realized that we are not really getting the best efficiency from those units. And we've started refurbishing them where we've done about 32% of that 730. And our aim is that by end of this year, we should have really done most of them. And that will be able to help us in taking the pressure down. As we take the pressure down permanently, then that reduces the chances of burst pipes happening, which in turn helps us to resolve or to save water. Secondly, we're working on improving our response time. We know that historically we're having challenges around response time because of various issues. So there is a plan that we've been working on. Part of it is to make sure that all our depots, 10 of them across the city, they are capacitated to make sure that we progressively start moving away from targeting 48-hour response time to target 24 hours. So these are all the initiatives that we are working on in the short term, which we believe that by end of this year, we should be able to be stabilizing them. But of course, above that, we also engaging with the residents of the city via different platforms, including issues of having public meeting in certain communities around issues of water conservation. And by that, we are not saying by any means residents are the problem. We are saying we need to stand together and be able to deal with the issue of the demand. Because on our end, we need to be able to deal with the demand from the issues of losses that either comes from failure of the infrastructure, illegal connection, and so on. But at the same time, it is important that residents comes on board, because you'll know that as you hear us talking about this, it's not the entire city that's affected by this. There's just pockets of the city where we have certain systems that we know whenever we have challenges of the overall reservoirs where they are in the low levels, we struggle to get the national pressure to get the volume to those systems. Yeah. So if the rest of us within the city that have access to water continuously, we are able to save or conserve water, the system will be able to build up, and those communities that struggle, like in Commando system, which is supplies Hastile, Brixton, and so on, and Alexander Park, which is around Kensington, and the President Park, which supplies Ivory Park, those communities, those systems will start building up in terms of level, which will be able to get water continuously to the community.
Giovanni, very quickly, a message on the WhatsApp line. How long will the daily 14-hour throttle, how long will that be for in terms of how long is it going to continue for?
Yes. So if you look at the currently, there are, of course, as we've announced from last week, that currently we're intensifying it to make sure that we stabilize those three systems that have indicated that are struggling. As of course those systems start recovering, we will relax that. But going forward, as you know, we'll still be implementing throttling whenever we are required in certain systems, especially those systems that have got high losses, because we need to be able to throttle them during the night so that we can reduce the losses that we experience from the infrastructure while we are busy with the investment that we are busy with. And we believe that once we start really gaining traction, especially around the pressure management, the issue around improvement that we are bringing on the response time or so, within this financial year, possibly as we go into the second half of the financial year, we may be in the position that we can start relaxing the throttling, because it's not what we prefer, because it is also not very good for the infrastructure. But we do it so that we can still be able to get water to those communities that are struggling.
Giovanni, thank you so much. And Giovanni Mokwevo, Managing Director of Joburg Water, speaking to us about that. Plenty of messages coming through and questions as well. I'm sorry I didn't get to all of your questions during that interview. Hi, Mandy. The daily throttle of reservoirs, namely Berea, has been struggling for days on end, and their published schedules aren't being adhered to. Why is that? Are they going to be mobilizing teams to repair all the roads and sidewalks if they've damaged post any water repair? Lots of questions, I know that, but hopefully we answered some of them. There's a suggestion that the entire board should resign as well. So Sawubona, Mandy, Johannesburg Water Board and the CEO should all vacate the positions. They've dismally failed in their duties. I don't think I agree with that, because I think these problems are historic, and I think that we'll just have more instability if there's a new CEO and a new board. But maybe you disagree. I'd love to hear from you. What did you think about that interview?
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently.
12:21 on the Midday Report. The ANC calling its councillors to meet at FNB Stadium in Soweto today. The President, Cyril Ramaphosa, is addressing them. All of this ahead of the local government elections next year. Tabiso Goba, EWN reporter, is there for us. Tabiso, good afternoon to you. What is the reason behind this meeting?
Good afternoon, Mandy. I mean, I think obviously the obvious reason is that we are due to have elections next year, and obviously the ANC, they do this. It's not the first time they did it in 2021. We also had elections around that year. So this is something that the ANC has done in terms of pulling out its councillors and giving it a mandate. But I think what maybe is a bit different around this time, Mandy, is because the elections are 1 year out. And you do have to question in that over the past 4 years, what are you going to do that in this 1 year that's left of this political term that we couldn't have done in the last 4 years since 2021, the last elections we had in local government? Now, I do have to say, Mandy, that we are here. There's a Gold Rush Dome at the FNB Stadium. There's over 4,000 ANC councillors. This includes ward and PR councillors. And we do understand that, you know, the ANC, much for all the hate that it probably gets online, it is still a political party that is majority supported in South Africa. And that's not me saying it. Those are just facts. It has over 4,900 elected councillors. That's more than any political party. But what is important, obviously, here for the ANC is that they have to find a way to actually keep those numbers, because the polling, every polling, even the ANC's internal polling, shows that the ANC, in the upcoming local government elections, they are going to shed a number of votes. And so this is a program to actually try and save some of those electoral votes as we head to the 2026 local government elections. Now, Mandy, we did have an opportunity to speak to the ANC Secretary General, Mr. Fikile Mbalula, around some of the expectations that are going to be happening here today. And this is what he had to say.
The President will deliver the marching orders in terms of the do's and don'ts, consolidating our work around the local government. As you would have said, there are many challenges that we have seen in local government, and this action plan is about how we fix and on the part of government and the ANC. In terms of governance in terms of leadership, on the defects that we have seen in relation to are we appointing the right people? We have seen that we have not done that. We need to act on that to get the right people in the right spaces. We have seen that where we've got the right people implementing and working at an administrative level, we have seen the results.
Fikile Mbalula, the Secretary General of the ANC, speaking there. Thank you to Tabiso Goba, who's at that meeting. Let's get some analysis on this now with Professor Ntsikelelo Breakfast, who is joining us to give us that analysis. Prof, good afternoon to you. Thanks for your time. Do you think the ANC is in panic mode ahead of the local government elections?
Of course, because the ANC has been dealt with a blow in a big way of late. You know that they did not get the outright majority. But also, what had happened maybe should not have happened for them, because they lost key urban centers covering the period of 2016 until to date. So they've lost grip over strategic but my thinking is that the damage is done now, and what is done cannot be undone. I don't think that they're making this call in good faith, because had they made the call in good faith, they would have responded to these problems on time. So I think it's too late. It's really too late to cool off the citizens for the slow pace of service delivery.
What message is President Ramaphosa going to give to the ANC councillors today that could really make a difference?
Look, I mean, I anticipate that he's going to say, you know, pull up your socks. The ANC is the leader of a society. You need to deliver the services. But that message should have been pitched to the councillor. I mean, the idea of a roll call is a wonderful idea, but it's too late now, because we are a few months away from the polls, and I don't think that citizens, they buy this. I don't think that they do.
Prof, thank you so much, as always, for your time. Professor Ntsikelelo Breakfast, political analyst, speaking to us there. What are your thoughts on this approach from the ANC? I agree. I think they are in panic mode. I think they were really rocked by the national election results last year, and they realize, if the polling is to be believed, that they're going to dip below 30%. So they need to make sure that something happens before the local government elections. Real growth needs more than just banking, and Nedbank Commercial Banking is your growth partner. Their team of industry experts understand your business and its potential, offering insight to help you see opportunity where others see obstacles. Because when you can see what others don't, you can do what others can't. Think bigger. Think Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently. Nedbank is a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Every day, South Africans are being squeezed to make ends meet. That's why they're Still Good, a new online platform where you can save up to 65% on groceries by buying Still Good value bags. Packed with groceries by leading retailers that are still perfectly good, just close to their sell-by date. You win by saving, retailers win by cutting food waste, and communities win as Still Good donates 10% of their earnings to food charities. Visit stillgood.co.za. Start getting more bang for your buck with Still Good.
One festival, endless flavor, and 2 unforgettable days of timeless music. The DSTV Delicious International Food and Music Festival, powered by Lotto Star, returns on 20 and 21 September at Kyalami Grand Prix Circuit. On Saturday, the stage erupts with Don Toliver, Questa, and Nkabi Zezwe. Then on Sunday, experience the legendary Lauryn Hill, Wyclef Jean, Lyra, and more. The DSTV Delicious Festival, powered by Lotto Star. Tickets at Ticketmaster.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car with a couple stealing glances at each other. In a week, their lives will change forever as they exchange their I-do's. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's a love story on the move. Every story's different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
What's up, Mandy?
On 072 702 1702.
Good day. I think it will be ideal to have the Springboks players, Orlando Pirates players, deployed in government because they seem to be the only people who know what they are doing. Thank you.
Sia for president, eh? Yeah, look, I think that at least, and I've spoken about this before, that the happiness sentiment in the country improves when our national teams win or when our teams win. And I've seen some people suggesting, there was a column in News 24 today, that this was the best Springbok performance ever. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Boks, and should we deploy our Pirates? No? What do you reckon, Krabo? No?
I say Mbongazi for Minister of Defense.
I love it. What do you think, guys? Send me a WhatsApp voice note, 072 702 1702. 12:30, time for Eyewitness News headlines.
Thanks, Mandy. Good afternoon. We begin in the courts where the bail amendment matter involving crime intelligence boss Tumsanu Khumalo has stalled in the Pretoria Magistrates Court due to flooding in some courtrooms. The court was set to hand down judgment on an application brought by Khumalo and 3 co-accused. Khumalo and 6 others are facing fraud and corruption charges over the appointment of 30-year-old Dineo Mokwele to an executive position within crime intelligence. The prosecutors allege that she has no policing capabilities, knowledge or skills. Residents in Westbury and surrounding areas have refuted Joburg Mayor Dada Morero's claims that interventions to restore water are on track, saying their taps are still partially dry. The areas have been dealing with water cuts for months now due to a problematic water system leading to protests last week. This prompted a response by Joburg officials who cut off water supply in other areas to increase supply in the reservoirs of the affected areas. And finally, bookworms will be able to find and read their favorite books with ease as Cape Town's libraries go digital. Library cards, physical catalogues, along with e-books will all be available digitally. Readers can now apply online for a library card and collect it at their local library, giving readers access to thousands of titles ranging from contemporary bestsellers to timeless classics. Those are the headlines. This Eyewitness News and more at 1 o'clock or as it happens.
EWN Sport.
Good afternoon, I'm Tolagile Mganga. Miguel Cardoso is confident that Themba Zwane only suffered a minor injury that was in Mamelodi Sundowns' 3-0 win over Makesi in the Betway Premiership yesterday. His comments come amid concerns around Zwane's AFCON availability. That's after the midfielder was forced off with a muscle problem just minutes after coming on.
Our intention was to bring him on the match. We could give him game time so that he gradually progresses on the integration on the team. As I said, I was very, very clear on the relation we had together, but accidents happen, even if once they try to drive safe, but when we play football, you never know what can happen. Unfortunately, there's a small thing. Let's hope that we can recover him as quick as possible so that he looks forward for what he has ahead.
Orlando Pirates have won the MTN8 trophy for an unprecedented fourth year in a row. That follows a 3-0 extra time win over Stellenbosch in Saturday's final. While in the Premier League, there were wins this weekend for the likes of Manchester City, Liverpool, Arsenal and Tottenham Hotspur. Over to the Rugby Championship, where Apelele Fassi is the big injury concern for the Springboks. That's ahead of their games against Argentina. He had to replace towards the end of the first half and was seen wearing a moon boot as he watched the rest of the game from the sidelines. At the same time, Cheston Colby has discussed the challenge the defending champions will face against the Pumas.
They've been playing really well. In the Rugby Championship, it's always a physical battle against them. But yeah, we just need to make sure that we focus on ourselves and where we can be better and just be clinical. I think this rugby is all about being clinical, disciplined, and just playing on the right side of the field.
Tolagile Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at this stage, if you're driving through Sandton heading towards Midrand, there's an accident scene on the M1 northbound. This is near Marlborough Drive. This is causing about a 30-minute delay. If you're approaching the between to change, avoid this route at all costs. Rather use Bowling Road, Rivonia Road, or even get off Marlborough Drive and use the N3 if you're heading towards Midrand. Traffic lights still not working in the Midrand area, Olifantsfontein Road and the N1, as well as in Rand Park Ridge at Bayers Nordia and the N1. In the mother city, there's slow-moving traffic due to roadworks on Main Road. This is between Dalbrook and Kalk Bay. There's also slow-moving traffic due to roadworks on the N2 outbound in the left lane approaching Baden-Powell Drive. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Spar brings you super savings. Get 1 kg D-Lite 37% fat spread tub, $34.99. Save R8 with Spar Rewards. Or 1 kg Spar French, chili, garlic or chicken paloni for $34.99 with Spar Rewards. Plus, you could win your share of 6 million rand in instant cash. Price is valid until 22 September 2025. While stocks last. T's and C's apply.
You know those finfluencers, the kind of bros making bank in Bali, calling themselves forex gurus, promising you can make money while you sleep if you just buy their course. But then you end up losing sleep, waking up for different market openings, checking charts, scanning the members-only group chat for signals, and you start wondering, why do they call it day trading when you're spending all night spending your money to make money, only to realize that they make their money selling courses on how to make money. Oh. When you can't trust overnight wins, trust 30 years of market-beating returns.
Coronation. Trust is earned. Coronation is an authorized FSP.
What do partners of the Gates Foundation do when facing the world's toughest challenges? They keep going. From discovering a plastic drape that helps detect excessive postpartum bleeding faster, to developing better bed nets to kill malaria-carrying mosquitoes, to researching an RSV vaccine that could save hundreds of thousands of children. For every problem, there are people who prove that progress is possible. The Gates Foundation, partners of human potential. Learn more at gatesfoundation.org/keep going.
WhatsApp Mandy on 072 702 1702.
Good day, Mandy. 3 great passes, splitting passes, made Pirates to score 3 goals. That's how simple football is. Don't hold it for too long on your legs. Pass the ball to the right player and he scores 3 goals. That's it. Thank you. Well done, Orlando Pirates.
Very good analysis. Thank you very much. Lots of reaction. Lisa says, pirates in government. There are already plenty pirates in government. Very good. Very good, Lisa. Pam says, Fikile Mbulula is not the spokesperson for government and needs to be checked when he does this. ANC is all talk and incapable of improving things for the people of South Africa. And then, hi, Mandy. ANC is panicking. They'll be desperate. And with desperation, people tend to do things which are untoward. They must just accept that people are not voting for them in the coming local elections, and they must fix their house in preparation for 2029 national elections. From Modise, I don't think the ANC is going to just lie down and give up municipalities. I think they're going to fight. You can expect them to fight. And then Joburg water interview is just more of the same. What they never mention is the high-lying areas when they throttle. I think he did mention that they struggle to get to high-lying areas. And then lots of other comments as well about the water specifically. Well, you heard from the Joburg Water MD there about the situation in Joburg. A lot of it comes down to infrastructure that is old, that needs a lot of money to fix. We spoke about the billions required to do that. And that really is the picture across Joburg, right? Is that infrastructure, maintenance are a lot of the problems. Well, a fascinating piece in the conversation by a group of people who previously worked in the city of Joburg as officials who are now academics with decades of experience observing local governance trends and dynamics, engaging with civil society, looking at what are the solutions for the city of Joburg. They're involved with the presidential working group as well over the past few months. So real knowledge, real insight here. And Graham Gotts is one of those and joins us now. Graham is the Director for Research Strategy at Gauteng City Region Observatory. Graham, good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks very much, Mandy, and good to be with you.
So you look at 4 focus areas that need urgent but sustained attention. What are those 4?
Okay, so let me just start by saying that as the Gauteng City Region Observatory, which I'm part of, we've been looking at this set of challenges both from a data perspective. We collect a whole range of data, including through a quality of life survey that tells us a lot about what people are feeling at the moment about the city of Johannesburg and other municipalities. And we've also been quite integrally involved in this presidential intervention that started earlier in the year. And I guess what we tried to do in the article was to, from those 2 perspectives, carve out a view on what needed to be done in order to fix the challenges. So just very briefly, what we were saying in a nutshell is that first and foremost, there needs to be a joint effort across all spheres of government. And we're very pleased to see that this has in fact begun. I like to say that there's actually an enormous amount of energy in the system at the moment, with the president having put his eye on this, but also a good response from the city of Johannesburg, recognizing that they're under scrutiny and looking for assistance where they can. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that the city really needs to respect the fact that civil society and communities are standing up and saying things have to be better, and they need to work together with civil society and with communities. It's just quite extraordinary to see how civil society, represented by Josie Majosi, WaterCan, the Johannesburg Crisis Alliance, in particular that last one, has really come to the party to try to say, things need to be better, and there's an opportunity there for the city to work much better with its communities. The third thing is we have to have a solution to these unstable coalition governments. The way it's worked over the last 10 years or so, since the mid-2010s, is that it's basically a spoils system. So basically the parties divide up the portfolios amongst themselves, and often the condition for this is a weak mayor, by the way. And each portfolio basically works as a separate political fiefdom, where the political party in charge of that gets to have the spoils. That has to be fixed. And then lastly, the key point is we have to have a respect for the fact that there's still real capability deep within the bureaucracy, but there needs to be a really clear political leadership in order to unlock the capacity that's there. and drive a change agenda where a demoralized and confused administration is able to recommit to the task at hand.
The premise of what you're saying as a group is that Joburg's problems can be solved, but it's a long journey, and that's exactly what we heard from the Joburg Water MD now. There's a 10-year strategy plan. How do you ease the frustrations of Joburgers in the short term?
So I think that's absolutely crucial, and I'm sorry I missed the MD talking on your show, because we've been engaging quite closely with the MD and also the DG of Water Affairs as part of one of the work streams on this presidential working group intervention. And I must say I've been very intimately involved in this, and it's just extraordinary to see the level of commitment and passion amongst the officials there. They are very clear on what they need to do, and they are very driven to get it done. So yes, it's a 10-year effort, but they're not standing still. One of the things that I was quite struck by was the willingness of the MD and the officials and the DG supporting this to make clear commitments to fixing some of the infrastructure in the short term. So there's a real plan to get things like, for example, the Brixton Reservoir fixed within the next couple of months. Now, they're hamstrung a little bit. There's a very complicated story about the cash on hand available within the city. Basically, Joburg Water makes money from selling water to residents. That money goes into an account, and it belongs to the Joburg Water guys, but gets swept out. It's called the sweeping arrangement. And because there's cash flow challenges in other parts of the city, that cash is being used there. And so these guys can't pay their contractors fast enough to get the work done. Now, what it comes down to in a nutshell is they've got a clear plan to fix clear problems in the short term, but to the extent that they might be hamstrung, communicate effectively with residents. Communicate effectively. That's the crucial bit here. And the data that we've been collecting shows a very, very serious decline in public trust. Not because service delivery is terrible everywhere, because actually there's a lot of good service delivery that continues on a day-to-day basis, but because there's this contamination effect with people feeling like the officials can't get the job done. Communicate effectively. You've got clear plans. Communicate those plans effectively.
Yeah. Graham, thank you so much. Graham Gotts is the Director for Research Strategy, Gauteng City Region Observatory, speaking to us there about a fascinating article in The Conversation today about how Joburg can be fixed.
I'm it's Manford here. You know, ANC lost the plot long ago. It's only that people were feeling pity for them or thought they will fix things. Now it's the time. Now is the time. Let others try. Let others say, do the job. Because for ANC, corruption is totally too powerful on their side. So they can't resist corruption. So let them go. Thank you.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 702 and Cape Talk is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently.
12:45 on the Midday Report with me, Mandy Wiener. The Minister of Higher Education giving an update today on NSFAS, the preparedness, state of readiness for 2026 and some of the concerns around debt and the attempts to recover debt. And the Minister of Higher Education, Buti Manamela, joining us now. Minister, good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for your time today.
Good day, Mandy, and to listeners.
How prepared is NSFAS for the 2026 year?
Look, when I was appointed, the first people I met was the NSFAS, and I asked them the question: how long will it take for them to stabilize the place? So they said 60 days, and we've given them 90 days, or at least the conclusion of the 2025 academic year and preparation for academic year 2026. and we've been meeting almost every week to make sure that we give them the necessary support without encroaching into and maintaining our policy extended hand. And what we've seen thus far has been some level of improvement. Today we announced that we've resolved some of the 2025 challenges, and that we're going to be approaching cabinet in terms of discussing what future lies for sustainable student funding. So as far as them managing to prepare for 2026 and also concluding 2025, I think that we are somewhat getting back on track.
One of the major concerns has been the debt that NSFAS has needed to recover. Reports in August putting it at almost 46 billion rand. What is the status of recovering that debt and the impact on maintaining loans going into 2026?
One of the things that we are going to have to do is to strengthen our capacity to collect that money, because when the shortfalls, that's where the NSFAS go in and borrow, to cover the shortfalls. So that's the one intervention. But we just have to make a public plea, that if you know that you've been financed by the NSFAS or TAFSA, the people who've been funded since 1996, and you are working now and you're earning decently, please commit to pay back some of the money. Make the arrangement. And I think it is much more than us strengthening our capacity, because it also costs money to do that. So that's the special plea that we're making, to those who owe the NSFAS and are not willing to pay.
And in terms of a potential amnesty?
The as is now, we have a big challenge about sustaining the current student funding model. And I think to talk of amnesty, especially when, people's socioeconomic position have completely changed compared to where they would have been, but I think it's also a question of, the state, the republic, the people of South Africa have contributed to my education, and it has put me in a better position in society. And I think it's as simple as that. Any other explanation will just be to try and complicate it.
You mentioned a new funding mechanism that has been developed to address the shortfalls experienced this year. Tell us a bit more about that and how you hope it will be effective.
Well, that's going to be a discussion. We've set up a task team that includes Treasury and DPME, and to help us look at various alternatives. We'll have to think about whether shouldn't we ask anyone who has received state funding, and have graduated and are working and have an excess, income. I know it's difficult to justify what excess income is. To contribute back, even though you got, your bursaries post 2018. So that's one of the ideas that is being mooted. The other ideas that, are being mooted is, approaching the private sector in order to build a bigger capacity in terms of, the student loan component, and that being backed by Treasury. So there are not going to be any holy cows when we have that discussion, because it has to be about sustaining the future of the country. It has to be about guaranteeing a skill supply for the country. It is also about dealing with poverty, dealing with unemployment, and also dealing with with inequality, and making sure that people really feel that we are indeed in a great Africa.
Minister, thank you so much. The Minister of Higher Education, Buti Manamela, speaking to us there about the status of NSFAS.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car with a family driving to their new home, carrying boxes stacked with plates and toys and memories. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's a new beginning, a fresh start on the move. Every story is different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Ready, jet, go! 2 fully paid trips to the Abu Dhabi Motor Racing Spectacular must be won in the thrilling new JetX competition exclusive to Hollywood Bets. An unforgettable experience awaits on one of the fastest circuits on the planet, with the world's top drivers battling for supremacy. To stand a chance to win, bet 10 Rand or more on JetX. 1 million Rand in cash is also up for grabs. Hollywood Bets. Fly higher with our multiplier. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Tata area, take me there.
I'll take you there.
Where the climate control interior cools lovers down.
I'll take you there.
Where the central control console places every decision within reach.
I'll take you there.
Where the 360 surround view camera never lets you miss a moment. Whatever there is, wherever there is, let the all-new Tata area take you there. From only 549,900, T's and C's apply. Tata.
And now, it's back to Mandy Wiener on the Midday Report.
This is 702.
Let's walk the talk.
12:52 on the Midday Report with me, Mandy Wiener. Let's get a quick update on the Phala accused appearing in court today in Limpopo. Zoleka Qorashe is a Newsroom Africa reporter, joins us now. Zoleka, good afternoon to you. Thanks for your time. What happened in court today?
Good afternoon, Mandy. So at the moment, we are hearing the defense cross-examining the witnesses, as well as the evidence in chief has been concluded by the prosecutor and the state in the matter. So you'll remember there are 3 accused in the matter. One of them was a temporary worker, a maintenance lady at the farm, the Phala farm, in 2020. We understand from the evidence in chief that's been given is that the temporary worker was there in 2020, and has been identified by the witness who we have been asked by the court not to divulge the identity of. But what we're understanding from the evidence is that the money was given to the acting lodge manager around the 25th of December 2019, where the man was working, after which the money disappeared after an alleged break-in in 2020, in February 2020. And so what the court or the defense is attempting to do at this moment is to obviously poke holes in the testimony that's been given through evidence in chief, and also just to say that there are other people that were aware of where the money was stashed, and because it wasn't just the president, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa, as well as this acting lodge manager that were aware that the money was stuffed in the couch after it was removed from the safe, and instead there are other people that may have been aware that this money was indeed in the couch of the home of the president on the Phala farm, and that in fact there may be someone else that could have been responsible for the alleged break-in.
Zoleka, thank you so much. Zoleka Qorashe, Newsroom Africa reporter, speaking to us there about the Phala accused appearing in court. Real growth needs more than just banking, and Nedbank Commercial Banking is your growth partner. Their team of industry experts understand your business and its potential, offering insight to help you see opportunity where others see obstacles. Because when you can see what others don't, you can do what others can't. Think bigger. Think Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently. Nedbank is a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
In a world where traffic is the enemy of progress, one man is in a race against time, through the noise, through the chaos, chasing something no GPS could find.
Accident detected ahead. Expect a 30-minute delay.
Not today, sweetheart. Not today. Write your own story with the Haval H7 from only 6,799 per month. Visit gwm.co.za for T's and C's and to book a test drive. Brought to you by GWM Finance, a division of Westbank, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We're also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct.
to give you balanced programming, fair comment and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we're not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission, PO Box 412365, Craig Hall 2024. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
Sports Wrap.
Sports Wrap.
On 702 and Cape Talk.
So as I said at the start of the show, a great day for Springbok, Orlando Pirates, and a couple of different teams in the Premier League as well. Mwande Mateza, where shall we start? Springboks?
Oh, that's the only place we could start.
Yeah, what a performance, hey?
Yeah, 100%.
It's 10:43 in New Zealand all week.
Yeah, 33-point loss for New Zealand, the heaviest defeat that they've ever suffered. Once again, South Africa putting on a record-breaking performance against New Zealand, and it's unlike anything that we've ever seen. I certainly was. It was unbelievable. I couldn't believe my eyes while I was watching that. I mean, it's one thing to outplay New Zealand, but to absolutely dominate and bully them in the way that the Springboks did was it's unheard of, and it was. Right from the start, you saw South Africa taking the game to them. And it was almost a little worrying in the first 15 minutes where South Africa were dominating possession, dominating territory, but not putting points on the board. And you started to get scared that, oh no, it's going to be this story again with South Africa against the All Blacks, where they're on the front foot dominating, but just not making it count. And New Zealand pretty much scored with their first attacking move, with Leroy Carter scoring on debut. But the Boks just held in there. And that second half was incredible to keep, 36-0. It was in the second half to keep the All Blacks scoreless through 40 minutes of rugby. You have to be a really good team to do that. And I think the result also puts into context the result from the week before. I think a lot of us were probably throwing our arms up in the end thinking that, oh no, Springboks are on the decline. But I think the changes that Coach Rassie Erasmus made in the end made a huge, huge difference.
Great effort from the Springbok women as well.
Yeah, 100%. I don't think they embarrassed themselves at all, especially when you consider the last World Cup around in 2022. The Springbok women played in, 3 pool matches and were eliminated in the early stages, and they only scored 22 points in that whole entire tournament and ended up losing, for instance, 75-0 against England, who were the number 1 ranked team in the world at the time. But now when you look at it, to play in the quarterfinal was their goal, and it is a really big thing. But, I mean, playing against the 6-time world champions in New Zealand, nobody realistically expected them to win that match because the margins in women's rugby are just so big at the moment. But to play in the way that they did, especially in the first half, to keep up with New Zealand, I think it was 10-all at halftime, has to be commended. And hopefully this World Cup will not just be a once-off, and that they will be able to build on the success, really, that they achieved this time around.
And then Karabo said to me a bit earlier on that it's like Michael Schumacher, when you win every season, you don't have to speak about it every season. But Orlando Pirates with a 4th MTN8.
Yeah, that was quite a performance from them as well, especially in extra time. It did look, though, that Stellenbosch were competing very well for duration of the match. But I think when it counted once again, Orlando Pirates just had too much for them. And it's a little bit of a worry for Stellenbosch whether they can compete at the very top of the league, because they sell so many of their players, and that's how they become a sufficient or self-sufficient club, through selling all of their players. But sometimes I think that hamstrings them in the sense that they just cannot compete right the way that they want to, right at the top with teams like Pirates, Sundowns and Chiefs.
Well, Mwande, thank you so much. Lots to celebrate in South Africa this weekend.
The Midday Report.
Thank you so much for listening. The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 702 and Cape Talk was brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. Think bigger, think Nedbank Commercial Banking. It's 1:00.
This is EWN.
Crime intelligence boss Khumalo's bail amendment stalls due to flooding in some courtrooms, and Westbury residents dismiss Joburg Mayor's claims that water restoration efforts are on track. Good afternoon, I'm Maki Malapo. The bail amendment matter involving crime intelligence boss Dumsani Khumalo has